the person you needed when you were younger. I don't feel there's anyone who embodies that expression more than Coach April Katz. You know her as Joey's adventure coach. Thousands of others know her as the motivator to get all bodies of all abilities out into nature to exercise. Joey calls her his wild adventure companion, and I call her one of my best friends. Welcome, April Katz.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Joey. Gosh, I love him dearly.
April, I'm so excited to have you on. Many people have seen videos with you and Joey together doing all different kinds of exercises. Um, and you are such a motivator behind his hiking journey as well. What is it about? Because this show, even though I know you work with all different types of abilities, this
hmm
show is specifically for autism. So what is it about autism that is so benefited by the movement of the body?
So yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but my background is ABA. And so I started as a behavior tech, and that's where it all started is that they don't need ABA. They need movement.
Yeah.
They need to be outside. These individuals with autism go from school from 5 to 6 hours, sometimes 3 hours, and then more therapy, speech,
I know.
OT, ABA. The list goes on. And I had this one individual that kept coming after school, and I just knew he was not looking forward to sitting down. He just needed movement. And that's where it all started. 2019 is where I got this idea of for an individual with ADHD, several learning disabilities, what is something that made me thrive through high
Yeah.
school, elementary, middle school was movement.
Yeah.
I was an athlete. Um, in no one sees your disability when you are outside
Oh,
and doing the movement.
right. Right.
And so that's how I started in 2019 here in Whatcom County and had three boys on the spectrum and bike. The bike is phenomenal place to start. And it's not up for everyone, and I'll speak on that, but that's where it all started. And that's where Airow, for those that don't know, I run a local nonprofit called the Airow Project, Adaptive Inclusive Recreation in Whatcom County, and I knew I had started on something, and it's been every year it just keeps getting better, and we are really taking our county.
Yeah, there's three of us that are in a friend group, and we always say the W is going to have to start standing for the world instead of Whatcom County, and because you are international at this point, and you are
Yeah,
being asked
and
to speak
for
and move
those
everywhere.
that are listening that are San Diego, I am born and raised there. You guys have been messaging me there. I will
My,
I will be seeing a
my,
few stellars there, and I'm excited. But you're right. I am spreading my wings more and more, and I have so much data. I don't know if you know this, Betsy, but when I first met Joey, uh, his tantrums and meltdowns went up to 20 to 30 tantrums of transitions
Wow.
um to not understanding him. And now we're 3 years in, and my daily sessions with him is zero.
Yeah, it's pretty
We're
incredible.
we're like just happy. We both understand each other, and he's come a long way. And especially with spelling being involved, I've seen nothing but communication, even gestures, even him just trying to figure out, I don't have my spelling board, but I want to just express
Yeah,
this.
about that. And I want everybody listening to know that we're really gonna cover, like, how to get your individual kids out there and moving. But so I just want everyone to stick around because we're gonna get to that. But the one thing I do wanna say about the spelling piece, though, April, is when Joey first started openly spelling, like, there was no ounce of you that was surprised. Like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he understands everything." And you were like, "Yep." Like, he's always understood. And I've always wondered that about you. Is it Is it through experience or your own intuition that you have always known to presume competence, to know
Mm,
that these autistic individuals who are non-speaking are
yeah.
thinking, they are still creating ideas and desires and wishes, and they are very much a part of our world? How has that been a part of who you are? Because you seem to be there intrinsically.
So I'll try to say this without crying because it's something that's super passionate. I grew up in the special ed in classes with non speaking individuals since second grade. I've seen them been abused. I've seen them not allowed to participate. I've seen individuals all my life just not given the chance. I'm a firm believer that they know that I'm a safe space.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people are like, how do we duplicate April Katz? Like, and it's like, how do we do that? And I honestly, I've been trying my best to figure that out, and it's because of my experience
Yeah.
has allowed me to advocate for these individuals. And still till 2025,
Uh-huh.
it is wild to me that special ed has not changed.
I know.
And people are still being isolated.
Yep.
Kids are still, this spelling and no bridge account from IEPs is just wrong. This is their communication, and behaviors happen when there's a lack of communication.
Right.
It happens if you're autistic or not. If you can't communicate in a way, you get it all stuck in here. And that's where my voice is going to come out. And I'm going to advocate for all these kids with autism. And this is why Airow and cycling and being outside, as I'm giving them the tools
Yeah.
to
100%.
socialize, to say, hey, there is nothing wrong with autism. I'm going to just prove you wrong that Joey can ride 56 miles. This individual can swim 2 laps, and you just learn how to swim. I'm going to teach you that pickleball is the fantastic
Oh,
midline
the best.
crossover best sport that anyone in a wheelchair, seniors, it is
Okay,
phenomenal.
we have to talk about that. I don't want to interrupt your goal, but I'm going to
But
write it down
I,
because we have to
I
talk about
just,
that.
and yeah, and like I said, I apologize for those. I do have severe ADHD, and I'm very passionate.
That's why I'm writing
Uh,
everything down, because we both do. How are we going to get through
because I
this?
am so passionate about advocating, and I'm tired
Yeah.
of these kids just being isolated. And I don't and they're like, oh, we mainstream our individuals into, for 30 minutes is not enough.
Yeah.
You should be in that PE class the whole time. It is, how do I know this? Is because I bring the trailer with adaptive
Uh-huh.
bikes. It is a shame that the special ed class is only doing their own PE class when the other class is playing hockey. They can do hockey. Just a stick. They're not on ice skates. I was talking to the PE teacher. I'm like, do you know how to adapt? I feel bad for the PE teachers because they just haven't been taught or educated on ways to make PE inclusive.
There's a fear I have found with those who are completely feel inept at handling a breakdown or a meltdown that kind of stems a lot of it. Like this, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, but what if they have a meltdown? Okay. So they have a meltdown.
And that you have a meltdown and you have peer educators.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, these individuals have one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Challenge them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get them to move. But then instead, I see these peer educators sitting.
Right.
And they're like, oh, they're on their sensory swing.
Right.
Well, it's like 20 minutes of sensory swing, and there is stuff like overstimulated sensory input. There's a sensory meltdown that happens. So if you're doing 45 minutes of swinging and then you go back and you educate and you do your education, and you swing more,
Yeah,
it's like give them a break on the swing
I know.
because they
Well, and that can be a stim. Like that swing for Joey it is. He said
it's a calming point, but
but he after a
um
while he needs to he can like start banging his head just due to
mhm,
the fact that the swing is just too much, it's just become a stim after a while.
yes.
And he relies on it too much. Okay,
Yeah.
I wanna go back to several things. So, I know we're gonna make sure. So, first of all, let's first do pickleball. And
Yes.
and this is something I've learned through vision therapy and through the Spellers program because, as the Spellers we're starting to understand the movement that is necessary for spelling, and we're understanding apraxia, we're realizing that if you can't afford to have your child to be a speller right now and they are non-speaking
Mhm.
and you are just like either I don't have access to a therapist or I can't afford it, all very valid reasons. What can I do now to practice, to get ready? And it's that midline crossing. That is everything. And it took us a while to get Joey there. Now he does not like pickleball. 'Cause, I think it's just not fast enough for him.
Yeah.
But, a lot of kids do super well for it. Can you talk about the midline crossing and why that's so
Oh,
important?
there are so many sports for midline crossing. There's pickleball, table tennis that a lot of people don't know how awesome that is for indoor Pacific Northwest. Horrible days, that's great. There's balloon volleyball where you just put the balloon and you're passing back and forth. That is just a lovely indoor activity. And then you have basketball, soccer, skateboarding, and my favorite, surfing. All those sports do have a midline crossing, and that is where your vision and you're crossing this like midline to help you out. Now, let's go back to your question about pickleball. Is pickleball, it's not about the game. Everyone
Right.
thinks you need to play a whole game of pickleball with those with disabilities. Be creative. Have baskets, have them hit the pickleball into the basket, have them bouncing it off the wall. Do target stars on the wall, stickers, whatever they love, dinosaurs. And so the list goes on and make it creative. Skateboarding, just let them on their knees, scooting across the gym, grabbing a tennis ball, scooting back. One of the best things for me that I love is grabbing a stick, going to the beach, and having the individual write out the alphabet with,
Or they could actually it doesn't even need to be the sand. I mean,
yeah,
it could be dirt. I
it
mean,
can be
it could be
dirt,
dirt.
it can be out of
Absolutely.
rocks. I've had individuals who like hate sticks and have done the alphabet spelling with a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, engage there, outdoor has so much to offer where you don't have to do much. You do not need to walk 1 mile or 30 minutes. You can just sit on the bench with your son, daughter, and just explore.
It's
Do a
all
scavenger.
therapy. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all so good, and just being out in that nature. Now, okay, so what if I'm just gonna play devil's advocate of what somebody might say is, my child is an eloper. They're gonna run away, and
Mhm.
I'm exhausted when I go outside because my child runs away. What would you say to that?
School playgrounds are the best. Why? Because they're fenced. They're fenced in, have fun, go outside and have a playground. There are several places that have fences that you wouldn't known of if you just take the chance to go explore. Lake Patton has this awesome tennis court. It is a huge tennis court that's fenced in.
Right.
It's like, and then in the
That's a great
gym,
idea to go to a tennis court that's not being used and to
yeah,
bring balls and just to play around there. That is
balls,
great.
skateboard, basketball. You can
Absolutely.
do bring your trike, a bike. The
Yeah.
list goes on. And then the cool part for those that live in cold weathers, find out when you have an open gym like the YMCA here locally. They have an open gym, and trust me, we have our clients go and they're just running around.
Yeah.
Those elopement, I tell them, see how long you can run for 10 minutes. And they
Right.
think it's a big, and then they get a sticker when they
Right.
beat their time. It's like, be
Fun.
creative, and that's so for all those that, elopements and all, it's just
Sure.
don't have that fear, like, know that
Go to a
you
place that has somewhat of a boundary to it to get the fear out of it. Yeah, that
yes,
makes tremendous sense.
yes,
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so cycling. Miss April.
yes,
We still need to make a video on this topic, okay? I've we've tried a couple times, we're gonna get this done.
yes,
I really want you to help people understand because I get this question when people see Joey riding almost weekly. How did he learn to ride? What age did he learn to ride? There is one thing before we talk about cycling that I want to mention. Joey always had a great sense of balance, okay? So Joey's twin sister, Mia, also dyspraxia, huge problems with the brain-body connection,
mhm.
has no balance, no rhythm, no balance. Cycling has never will be right for her. I want to mention that before we go because if you have tried over and over again and have not made headway, I don't know. Is there a certain level where you have to stop pushing? So take it away, but also be sensitive to the fact that I've met a lot of people who are just not really meant to be cyclists.
Yeah. So, well, this message is for Mia. Mia, I have several adaptive bikes. So if it's a balance issue, I have a recumbent bike, which is 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel in the
Right.
back for balance. Phenomenal bike for individuals that have no desire and balance. Go and buy a recumbent bike, and you can message me because I have found recumbent bikes that are less than $500. Yes, there
Right.
are recumbent bikes that get up to $4,000.
Sure.
Just the label of adaptive. That's one of a barrier. I understand it's very, um, adaptive bikes are expensive. I
Yeah.
wish it was cheaper. But for those that are trying to teach your kid how to ride a bike, a lot of people don't know this. They want to go grab a balance bike. If you have a typical bike, a two-wheel bike, take off the pedals and then it becomes a balance bike. And for the first, I encourage everyone, 5 weeks is just having them walk with, and then notice that they have to balance on that bike. You can't pedal yet. And as soon as they are like zooming through and with the bike and they've got really a lot of balance, that's when you add those pedals back. And
Yeah.
then you break it down and you just push them, and then you work on braking is the next thing, is because it's not, you do it in 30 minutes. Don't do it in an hour because it's going to lose all the fun. That's how I know, is 30
Right.
minutes of pedaling, and it's all time, right? It's structured play. And so you're going to allow your son or daughter or client to have fun and make it a fun experience.
I This is so great, and I wanna add to one other piece of it because a lot of people have watched Joey ride, especially through the city streets, and he stops at crosswalks, and he looks for cars, and he knows what a light means, and I've taken him cycling. He actually mostly learned in San Francisco, so I've taken him cycling in big cities, including Vancouver, which we go to a lot. Here's the thing, we didn't start there. Okay? You don't start in, like, a super busy
No,
intersection.
no, there's
They're starting on trails that are just trails without intersections involved. That's where you're beginning, or parking lots, or places that there are no rules of the road.
I'm one of my favorite places is a tennis court.
Yeah.
That's where I've taught
Yeah.
all summer. A lot of like their lessons are at tennis courts. If they can break in a tennis court, then they can break on the trail. But ride, oh, I have, it's because it's gated and it's a safe space. Then you go into trails. Then from trails, you branch off where it's trails slash street crossing. But
Perfect.
not all streets are, it can be loud. I have individuals that just like have text me, I want to just be on trails.
Right.
So ask your son or daughter or whoever you're working with to like get feedback. That's where the number one, a lot of parents miss out is just ask them, are you liking the trail? Yes. Do you like riding in the city? No, it's too loud for me.
Yeah.
It's
And
really
it is hard when they're non-speaking
mhm,
and they don't have a form of communication to
station.
explain that. And that was Joey for a lot of years, and we didn't know what he liked and what he didn't like as much.
Right.
So there's those challenges as well, but usually, you have a pretty good intuition
Which
as to
yes.
based on the behaviors of whether or not they're liking something or not.
Yes. While you're writing or doing this or lesson plan, you can see the smile or you can see the piss off. This is unpleasant. Then that's where you stop.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, like for example, one of my individuals, I knew he was not having fun. And so I stopped the plan. I flipped the bike and I told him, go spin all these wheels. He loves wheels in motion. And we just gave him 10 minutes of spinning the wheels. It got him back in a better mood. And then we finished our lesson.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
Yeah.
you just kind of go off of your vibes, but not like everyone can't ride a bike. So there are adaptive bikes that are several bikes. There's balance bikes, there's pedicabs. I got, a list of bikes. There's tandem bikes. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And where in a average community, because most families can't afford these themselves, who do you recommend that families get in touch with, like, cycling clubs, or so many people in the cycling industry.
Yes.
How are parents supposed to find the adaptive recreation in their area? Because I know, obviously, we have not figured out a way to clone you yet. So where are these parents going to find these bikes?
So,
Because
for those that want to follow me, I'm Coach April Katz on Instagram. You can email me, but the best place that I've found is Facebook Market.
oh, yeah.
All the seniors that bought
Oh,
adaptive bikes
yeah.
will resell them or tandem bikes. Hey, I thought
Yeah.
it was a great, we're going to be the sweet couple riding down the street. And then I see it on Facebook Market and I'm like, hey, what are you doing with this tandem bike? And they're like, hey, we'll sell it to you. So parents, you do not need to go in an expensive bike shop. Please feel free to email me or message me and I'll help you out. You just need to give me more details of
Yeah.
your son or daughter. But yeah, that is my dream, is to get people out, not just bikes. That is another thing I don't just do bikes. I do hiking. So this is where hiking comes in
Oh, I
because
wanna talk about hiking.
hiking, I found out that a lot of my clients that I work with, I've tried, right? And that's where the happy medium and all that, they weren't happy. And that's where I was just like, you need another sensory input, something
Yeah.
heavy, something that's going to exhaust your brain. And that's where weighted vest and backpacking has came
Yes.
along.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wait, we have a lot here to unpack. There's a lot of topics here, and we're going to narrow it down. So, first I wanna talk hiking. I just wanna start by saying I deeply thought Joey hated hiking. The reason I thought he hated hiking was because he didn't like the fact that he wasn't like, he didn't like this, "I'm just walking out there, and then I'm turning around, and I'm walking back. Like, what is the purpose here?" And that was the reason I had thought, and I'm still not sure, but what I didn't understand is that I wasn't giving him the proper equipment to help his body during hiking.
Yep.
So you got him to love hiking, and oh my gosh, I sent April a text after we took Joey on this intense 6.2-mile hike with 1,800 feet of elevation gain in the top of the mountain with, like, no oxygen, and 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 Joey is at the front of the pack with all of us just, like, huffing and puffing and trying to just, like, keep up with him
Mhm.
as we're dragging along, and he's just like, "What? What? Like, hurry up, everybody." But he did the whole thing with a heavy backpack and his arms
Tucked.
tucked into his body.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, I we fought Joey and I fight a lot during hiking because there are so many times where I'm like, "You have to take one arm out.
Mhm.
It is
It's a
dangerous."
it's a it's a balance issue, yeah.
Yeah, there is a cliff here, like, or there's snow, like,
Mhm.
you need to have an arm, so but as soon as I stop looking, he shoves that arm right back
Right.
in his backpack and tightens up. So what is that? Why do they need the weights? Why do they need to in Joey's case, he likes to be, like, bound. What is that whole thing about?
It's honestly, hiking is the most engaged body because, right, if you're not looking forward, you're gonna trip and fall, and then I think it's just the outdoor, the nature, what they give you, like, the feedback for nature
Yeah,
is just incredible. But where I got this idea is, as an ADHD individual, I was there. I hated hiking. I was like, "What's the purpose?" But what happened is when I went on my first backpacking trip, and that's where that weight gave
oh,
me
right.
where it really exhausted me. Like, I got home and I slept great. I was like, just my whole body, my shoulders, my like strength,
Right.
everything. But here's another thing is I love music. And when I put my headphones in and I'm hiking, it is I do that. It's not just weighted vests for individuals that love music, that
Yeah,
have headphones, put the music on. Let their brain you we have our brain keep going on and on and on. And so it's just like nature gives us one, the view, two, the strength because you're the backpack you're carrying, cardio,
right.
you're exhausting your brain because you're one, you have to make sure you're engaged watching everything. You have to say hi to everyone that's on the trail. And then you have to be alert for wild animals. So it's like you just exhausting your brain.
I did have Joey watch, how or what to do if you encounter a bear, YouTube video before we went, and
That's
then I quizzed him on it. But you're right, you do. You have to be very, very alert to lots of situations, but I do feel that for him, the weight was big. Now, how how do you determine how much they need? The weighted vest is a good I mean,
mhm,
weighted vests are so great for this, but also I like the idea of having a pack mule. I mean,
yes.
Joey carries everything because he doesn't get tired, so
Yes.
he carries the water bottles, he carries all the snacks and the foods and everything, and that is his weighted pack. But
Yes.
what is it about the weight that grounds us?
It's just like it's the deep pressure
Yeah,
that all these individuals with autism want. We have weighted blankets. We're constantly like just need to be weighted down and grounded because
it's the
it just
proprioception and the
it's
vestibular, yeah.
it
No,
just feels good. But I also want to just address this. I am a single mom, and I did not have the means to go and get a weighted vest. So I really encourage those families, grab a backpack,
Yeah,
grab a dumbbell. It can be only 5 pounds, and then
or even
take
2
that
pounds.
5 pounds,
Right.
2 pounds, and put, or it can be their lunch, it can
Yeah,
be water, but
right,
it doesn't need to be an Amazon certain kind of vest.
right,
And I just
right.
wanna throw that out there is
That's
that
a really good point. I am really glad that you're talking about that because there's plenty of ways to make that work. But
yes,
yeah, I mean, they should be drinking lots of water on the trip, so bring a lot of water and have them
yes,
drink
bring a
along
lot
the
of water.
way. Yeah, that's really great. Now, and going back, I kind of want to finish answering my own question with that. With that, why is it the weight that helps? So, with proprioception, so many of our kids don't feel where their feet hit
Mhm,
the ground, and the weight actually helps them feel where their body's ending
indeed.
more. So it makes the hiking a lot better.
Mhm,
Also, with the vestibular, kind of that where am I in space kind of thing. The vestibular also helps them stay centered and be able to feel their body in space.
and that is for those that aren't not even autistic, it's like it just shows body posture.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
have not any backpack, your shoulders and your hiking sticks, you cave in. You cave in, but if you have a weighted backpack, it puts your shoulders back,
Yeah.
you're working on your core, and then you're really working on all those leg muscles. So it's a definitely we can talk a lot about this on the breakdown of a weighted vest and a weighted backpack.
Yeah,
So,
that's is there I mean, I'm assuming you're a fan of weighted vest even in like playing pickleball or any of those sports.
yeah. So, I've seen individuals where they've been engaged in all sports wearing a weighted vest. And so, playing pickleball or running,
Right.
um, there but then there's individuals that I'm like, "No, that's just too much." Like, we need to scale back and not do the weighted vest and
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
work on the hiking. So, it really depends on those individuals, and get to know what's best. You guys know your kid more than I do. So, whatever music or whatever, string, keep it engaged when they go hiking and all that. So, yeah.
A lot of people are listening, I'm sure, to you, April, thinking, boy, I wish I had somebody like April for my child. And I want to mention something that I did recently in order to find a new caregiver. When um, Joey's full-time caregiver, Nick, has been sick recently. He's doing much better and he's now back to part-time. But I had to hire somebody in the interim. And I went to go create my ad,
Mhm.
caregiver, and I thought, that word caregiver just sounded so bland because it didn't encompass what I really needed it for. So I called it an adventure caregiver, and I talked about you're gonna go cycling with Joey, you're gonna go hiking. I want every day is gonna be a new adventure, and the amount of resumes that popped into my like, "Please, please, please hire me for this job," was astronomical. I could not believe it, and I have had so many people when I made a video about that, saw the video, they did the same thing, and they had the same response. There are so many people who would much rather be an adventure caregiver than just a caregiver
Mhm.
because the idea of getting out and having action and moving their body feels good to them too. And even though the pay is not fabulous, they're getting paid to do something they already love, to hike or to cycle or to just to be
Yep.
outside. So that could be a really great way to find someone. Another place that I wanted to mention is if your child is starting to cycle, but you're limited in your time to be able to cycle with them. I have had great responses by contacting cycle clubs who asked to ask if there's anybody who would volunteer to
Yep.
maybe ride with your child.
Yes.
Other ideas, April?
Well, the list goes on. There's the pickleball Bellingham Pickleball Club, where two of our individuals just had a session. And then they text me, "Wow, these are phenomenal players. We thought with the word autism, they didn't know how to play, and we got our butts kicked." So, like,
Yeah.
um, so like the list goes on. If you're doing hiking, check in with your alpine hiking group. They love to hike. There's so many volunteers that want to hike. If you go with the cycling club, the local mountain bike club is
Oh, yeah.
very passionate individuals. I'm pretty stoked. Our WMBC, our local mountain bike coalition, just partnered with Airow. So there's going to be more narrow divergence out on the trail. And so, but it, you know, do the playground too is another phenomenal place. I love playgrounds. It is such a great gym. It is so much
Right.
to offer. And those are for parents that I've been there. You're exhausted. You just want your kid to be outside. Go to the playground and find that parent and just socialize and hang out while your kids are getting all their wiggles out.
Yep,
Um,
that's a big
it
one for
it is
sure.
a big one. So,
Um, no, I and I know also it can be very, very hard, especially when our kiddos don't really understand courtesy. I shouldn't say that. I used to say he doesn't understand courtesy. I
mhm,
now say his body isn't able to do what we deem as courteous to an
mhm,
individual, because I used to think it was the lack of knowing what to do on Joey's
mhm.
part. Now I realize it was just his body's willingness to not be able to participate. But in general,
I also just
yeah,
want to throw that out.
yeah,
Parents, this message is for you. I really want to just throw that out. Is stop apologizing for your son or daughter who are having so much fun on that playground, on that trail. The list goes on, going in the ocean when they're not supposed to go in the ocean. There's no such thing as normal. There's
yeah,
no more normal. See, in any kid, every kid's nowadays, our mental health is so, an issue. So please stop apologizing. I see it in that anxiety and all that. Just know that your kid is having fun, and movement is a blessing for them. And I
and a
see,
right, and a right.
and I see so many families like where you made your compound or your house your safe space, and it just doesn't teach them the social aspect of just let kids play, and you can play too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's very good advice. So Arrow, which is the nonprofit that April is the director of, I actually am a director for a nonprofit, and I do more for and with Arrow than my own because I love it so much. But let's talk about Arrow a little bit and how somebody might be able to start something similar in their own community.
Hmm.
To talk about your passion and where you started Arrow and how somebody else might be able to create something like this in their community.
Yeah, man, Arrow has been a huge project. For those that don't know, I did not graduate from a college or degree. Why is that? Because of my learning disability. I spent years trying to figure out a degree. And it wasn't until I said, I just need to be the person I needed when I was younger. And that's where Arrows started. Till this day, Betsy, I don't even know how I got state, like, I don't even know how I figured out how to get state contracted through like my certificates. That's all I have. I do have certificates of registered behavior tech. I'm a adaptive inclusive trainer. I have all these certificates, but the fact that the door opened at the right time,
Yeah.
it's incredible because a lot of people are like, how did you do it? I wish I can tell you that. Just I'm learning daily.
Yeah.
Um, but what thrives it is my passion. I have and my superpower is ADHD. The dreams that I have, the ideas at a board meeting, and they're like, "What, April? Yeah, right. There's no way." And then it's like, "Hey, you don't know me. I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm gonna do it by myself or with you." And so, it's just kind of like who I am. Um, where do I want to go with the Airow Project? That's the next step. Is I want every adaptive, inclusive summer camp to be at every state. I know it is needed. And what makes Arrow different is because we have that behavior support.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of adaptive, inclusive summer camps, but for those that are high behavior, fetal alcohol syndrome, hotheads that have meltdowns, is because we are teaching them exhaust your brain, go and run, go and play. And that is what's different and I'm bridging the gap is because I am experiencing it.
Yeah.
I was an alcoholic. I thought that was just life with outdoor recreation. But as someone that was addicted to alcohol and I thought ADHD, that was going to like help me, but it didn't. It just made it more toxic. And the solution is exhausting my body, movement. To the fact that I am moving my body 3 times a day, my sleep has not been, it's incredible. I'm like passed out. But when I wasn't and just doing that one workout with that one client or riding my bike, because I ride my mountain bike every day, that's not what I needed. I needed weighted vests walks. I needed weightlifting. I needed longer hikes with backpacks, riding my bike, but longer bikes. And it
Yeah.
really, and so
Yeah.
I think when someone talks about how did I do it, I think it's just out of experience. And
Right.
I'm an individual that has a disability. And I think that's the only, I wish I can say this is how I did it.
But let me just say that that is inspired action. That is the definition of inspired action, is that you're moving through this universe with kind of like following the breadcrumbs of where you need to go, and you're getting the inspiration of who is calling you forward, because there
Mhm.
is a huge amount of people that are like, please come help, please come help, and they're pulling you forward, and then you're getting the inspired action to be actually implement the assistance. You are the cooperative component that they are looking for.
Yeah.
So that is something I just adore about you, and your willingness to just constantly go for bat. You had an outstanding, you have had for the last several years, an outstanding camp for individuals, and it's such an incredible summer camp. How many people did you have this year? How many attending did you have this year?
So just at our camp alone, I wish I can say 100, but we have to limit it. So there
Yeah,
is a 60 kids, 60 youth, but we don't just do camps, during the summertime. For those that are older, like Joey, we do one-on-one sessions. So it's like we do camps for everyone. So the total was about 220 participants.
wow.
So when
And this
last
is
time
one county, and we're not that big. I think 200,000 people are in our is in our count. Like 200, is it 200,000 in Bellingham? Do you know that? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, I do
It's
know th
small. We're
I
talking
do
about a
know
quarter
this.
of a million people, maybe.
I did get a number count of just in Whatcom County, or not, just in Bellingham. There was a list of like 700 youth that with disabilities or something like that.
Right.
And here I am at 280, so trust
Wow.
me.
Yeah.
And then now we partnered up with our adult center. And so more activities are coming. They love our ideas, um, my ideas. and and so
That you talked everyone else into.
um, but like, that's where I'm excited. It's
Yeah,
like the word is getting out, and um my programming and just to do scavenger hunts. That's a phenomenal way of engaging an individual for hiking. Is a scavenger hunt. Is have a list and have them find these objects. Everyone loves it, no matter what age.
absolutely.
And what I love about Joey is he loves to see it on my picture, like on my phone. A picture, I want you to find this. And it's the freaking sign. It's just a sign of the hike. And he is on a mission and he'll find the sign. And he's like, ta-da!
I love that. I had no idea. Look at these things that he's doing.
hmm
So you're supporting so many others. Who is supporting Airow?
And that's where I need help.
Right.
Is now with Medicaid being on the cuts of many individuals that are going to be affected, and Airow is one. We're a social service provider. And so now I am knocking on doors. I am literally walking into businesses. I'm talking to people. I got a beautiful smile, people.
You do.
And so I just want people to sponsor kids, to say, wow, 300 or $400 for a week can get a kid to enjoy our adaptive inclusive summer camp. But there's more to come. There's winter camp. We have adaptive skiing up in Mount Baker on December 22nd and
And
20.
does somebody have to live in the county in order to be able to partake in
Oh,
these things?
no.
Yeah.
We had two participants that the parents were just visiting, and they saw, hey, we have a kid with autism, and they got to join.
Oh, fabulous.
So we are all open doors. You just go on our website, you can email me. I
And the website is
apologize.
the Airow Project.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Airow Project. And I apologize if I'm not sending emails really fast because
Oh, really?
I play
Like you have
outside.
time for that.
I like to play. And then I do the
Understand.
admin stuff. So I apologize for the late response, but you'll
Or
get
you
there.
could go through me. You could go
Yes.
through you could go through Hey, Betsy, could you get a hold of April? I like to say, okay, there's nowhere you can go in Bellingham where somebody doesn't know April, and so I always call it, that's my Bellingham flex. Like, she's one of my really good friends. "Oh, really? Well, please come on in." Like, I gotta tell this story. It was really funny. She and Joey were on a ride one day. So April and Joey had, taken this bike ride and, what
We had a
did it
flat.
we had a flat tire, that's what it was, and they
Uh-huh.
had a flat tire. So she sends me a message, she goes, "Joey's okay, he's happy at the moment, but we have a flat tire, and, do you have a pump?" Was it a pump that we needed?
Mm-hmm. And airplane, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't have an air pump, and I'm just like, Joey's gonna get upset, and I was, like, freaking out. I'm like, "What am I gonna
You
do?
were
What am I
freaking
gonna do?"
out.
And so she's like, "Go to Fanatic, a bike store, tell them you're friends with April Katz, and they will give you a bike pump." And I walked in there like, "Do you know April Katz?" And she's like, "Yeah." They're all like, "Yeah, we all know April Katz." And I'm like, "She needs a bike pump. She needs it now." So they hand me this bike pump, no questions asked. I
No question.
walk out the door, bring it to them. They pump up, I drop off the bike pump, and they were like,
But the
"Yeah."
best part about that story, it this is such a great example of, like, you don't have to tell your clients, and this is for those that are caregivers or respite
Yeah.
providers. You don't have to tell them everything. And I knew if I told Joey we have a flat, then it would have been disaster. And all I did is say, Joey, we're taking a break. I need a break. My legs are really tired. And here he is rocking it out,
He had a
thinking,
good time.
uh,
Wasn't he, like, kinda sad when you guys started going again? He was like, "This was kinda fun."
yeah. So I'll never forget that because that was a good example of like, I, saved because if,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just have it's all how you spin it.
Yep.
Okay, I will end this today by when Joey spelled about April, I made a video about this, but I had to go back to get it word for word, and what Joey said is, "I am too familiar with my good friend April to gush much. So I will simply say, April, you're rad and my wild adventure companion. And April,
Mm,
you are rad. Thank you so much for being my companion in life and helping so many others find their passion in sports."
you're welcome. Thanks for having me. And thanks for just being my good friend.
Oh, it's the
Really
best.
appreciate it.
All right, everybody. I'm
All
going to put
right.
in the show notes. We'll have all the ways of getting hold of April. Thanks for joining us today, and we will be back with you next week. Bye
All
bye.
right. See ya.